are all the tools I used to create my Harley Quinn mallet. Woo! So I have my cardboard tube. It wasn't as long or as big as I wanted it to be, but it was okay. I got it for free from someone on Facebook Marketplace, so I really can't be that mad about it. But it was sturdy, it had a little lid on it, which was useful. These wooden dowels I didn't end up using. I actually used different ones. My PVC pipe and a little connector that goes on the end of the pipe. But that wasn't really that important. I had an idea for it, but it didn't end up working the way I wanted it to. So I measured my pipe and cut it into 3 pieces. And how I measured it was putting it literally up against my head and drawing a line at the height I wanted it to be. And then I cut that down into 3 pieces, which was a pain. Put everything in the car, headed to my nursery. Cut out a little hole in the tube, which was harder than it looked. I made this look really easy, but it was not that easy. And then I put the pipe through, taped it all in, checked to make sure it was strong enough, which it was. It was really good. And then I cut out my pieces of foam, which took a while. I really should have measured it. To be honest, I should have used the pattern for this whole thing, but I did just kind of wing it. I cut out 6 pieces of foam in these rectangular shapes. I also then taped them all together to make sure they kind of fit together, because I didn't cut them properly, didn't cut them straight, which was fine. It needed to look like wood, so it wasn't the end of the world that it wasn't perfect. I then numbered everything and wrote black and red on it to make sure that I painted them the right colour, because I could have gone very badly wrong. Cut out these circles for the end. I measured the circles by literally putting those pieces of foam that I taped together, and then I just cut a circle out around it. I should have left it the size I left it, but I ended up cutting them smaller, which was a bad idea. Then I cut out all of the little pieces of details on the foam to make it look like wood. And I used my rotary tool to get all those little sharp edges a little bit more rougher, make it look a little bit more like wood, which was a lot of hard work. This took me 3 full days of work. So I was working at my nursery, it was half term. I literally just took over the whole place, used it as my own personal crafting studio. It was great fun, but this was a lot of effort, especially putting all these little dots in. This took 2 hours just to do that, 1 circle, so it took ages. Then I spray painted the cardboard tube just so that if any bits were poking through, then it would look a bit more uniformed. I then heat shaped all of the pieces of foam and primed it all with a grey primer. I didn't really care what primer I used, it was just the only one they had in Hobbycraft, so I ended up using that. Really, I should have got a different one, but it was fine. I then split them into 3 and 3, spray painted them red and black, and then I painted them with black paint and with brown paint to make them stand out a bit better, as you can see in those photos. It was a lot of effort. Again, that took me 2 days just to do that, and this was so much hard work, honestly, so much hard work. Then I cut the actual pieces of wood that I used for my little interlocking pegs. I then had to heat shape the tube, so the PVC pipe, so that I could get the wooden dowel bits in there that they would stay. And this is what it looked like when it was all connected together, which was great. I'm so happy that it worked, honestly. Then I used contact glue to glue the pieces together. I glued them as a 3 and a 3, and then I cut out a semicircle from one side of each of them so that I could stick the bit through where it connected the top of the mallet to the rest of the pipe, as you can see here at the end. I then hot glued everything just to make sure it all stuck together a bit better, because the contact glue didn't work very well. And this is what it came out like after I'd finished doing that. I had a big hole in it here. I meant to record a video of me making an extra bit of wood, but I forgot to do that. But I made an extra bit of wood anyway. So that took me another day or so, but I did that at home because it wasn't half term anymore, so I didn't have the use of the nursery. Then I taped all the white bits of the PVC pipe with black tape. This is just electrical tape. It was the same tape that I used to stick the PVC pipe into the cardboard tube at the beginning. And it was really hard to work with, but once I got the hang of it, it was all right. Then I made these little dots out of foam clay. They're like half semicircles, and I painted them just black with acrylic paint. I should have primed them, but I didn't because I knew they weren't going to move. And I made these straps out of kids craft foam, which again I didn't get a video of because I'm an idiot. I should have recorded all of it, but I didn't. And this is how it turned out in the end. I also painted the your face here on the end. It was really sturdy, which I was really surprised about considering this is the first prop I've ever made. I am so proud of it. Yeah, I had a few mishaps, but it came out really well in the end, and I'm so proud of it, and I can't wait to make more. I'm just going to talk a little bit about some of the things that went wrong with making this mallet. This was where the big hole was, here. And as you can see, I made this piece of wood out of foam. I also had a little hole here, which I, again, filled with just a little off-cutting of that. I made the other bit bigger, and then I cut it down so that I could have a gap here as well. I definitely could have made these straps a lot better than I did. I didn't have a lot of time. I had to get it finished for SecretCon, and I didn't have time to prime it. I didn't have time to sand it down, so they have these weird lines on them where I had to attach the different pieces of foam together. It's literally just kids craft foam, painted red and black. So as you can see, the paint's coming off a little bit already. But it's fine. It's not the end of the world. I can always take these off and make new ones. It's not the end of the world. I was originally going to make it so these straps had the dots on them, but then for some reason I didn't line it up so that it would be in the middle of the mallet. That was my own fault, but it's alright, we got there in the end. Also, I've lost one of these already from when I had it at SecretCon, but it's fine. I made a few extra, so I can hot glue another one on. It's really not the end of the world. So if we look inside here, you can see what happened with the cardboard tube. The paint has come off a little bit from where I spray painted it, but there's a big gap at the end. So the cardboard tube doesn't go all the way across to this end of the mallet. So if you hit this side, it's really hollow, but if you hit this side, it's really sturdy because this side is glued onto the cardboard tube, and this side, as you can see at the top here, is not glued onto the cardboard tube. It has a big gap. Also a big gap between the bottom here, which you can still see the yellow because again the paint came off, the bottom and the top. So the bottom is glued to the cardboard tube and the top isn't. So there's a gap about this big between where the tube sits and the top of the mallet. So that means it's not perfectly sturdy, and I could have some issues with it in the future, but to be honest, I don't think I did too bad, really. Like, it's alright, you know? So thank you for watching my video on how I made my Harley Quinn mallet. I'm really proud of it. It's the first thing I've ever made, and it was a lot of fun. I probably should have recorded a few more videos than I did, because when I came to do the voiceover, I just had to cram everything in really quickly, and there's a lot of things that I did that I didn't end up getting to show you. But if you have any questions or anything, like, feel free to message me. Yeah, so thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in my next project or in my cosplay photos. Thank you for following me. Love you guys.